Hi. So today I want to talk about a big school, a big chain school called EF, English First. And the big question that I've been talking about with some of my friends, and I think a lot of people are thinking about inside the ESL industry, is can EF survive in China after the new laws? And I always make these videos as a way to try to get some information, not just to sort of provide information, because I'm just like one humble guy. I was kind of a little bit of an expert about Wall Street English because I got given a fair bit of inside information because I worked there for so long. But when it comes to EF, my only experience working for EF is basically applying to work for EF and being unsuccessful. But there are reasons for that. I'll share later in the video. So look, what is happening in EF in northern China that I am currently aware about? So what I'm currently aware about is that they are quietly looking for part-time teachers, and it seems that they're quietly withdrawing their staff. They're quietly trying to replace their teachers with part-time teachers, and they're getting prepared to close. So I know that's a pretty big claim, so if anybody in the comments section has some like really good information, I would just like to hear that from them. I have heard from people, and I have witnessed personally just how quiet the EF centres now. So I walked past one in Binhai the other day, and it was really quiet. There was like 2 bottles of hand sanitizer, both of them were empty, and there was one member of staff inside the centre, and it really seemed like it was getting ready to close. But it's impossible to say just from walking past, I guess. Now, what are the new laws specifically, and how do they relate to EF? So basically, these English centres now have to move to a non-profit model, so they're not able to make a profit. And I've been told by my friend, who is very knowledgeable about the new law, that he's been told by his friends, who are Chinese lawyers and who are extremely knowledgeable, who you would call experts about the law. So this is coming from a secondary source, but it seems to be fairly likely. I've met those guys. I've met these guys before. But what they're saying is that the government is going to be controlling the prices. So the prices are going to be set relatively low, or much lower than is profitable. So even though they might possibly potentially be able to survive as a non-profit if they were able to control their own tuition fees, the fact that they can't means that it's pretty unlikely they can survive. And certainly the rents in the locations where they've historically operated from are just too high to enable them to operate from those areas anymore. So I think looking at it from that perspective, the writing is on the wall. So if you are an EF teacher in China, I think that it might be obviously a good time to start thinking about the future without that EF job. And as I said, like, if anybody has any information about EF that is more accurate or more specific, I guess is the word, please share it in the comments below. I applied to work at EF back in 2010, I think, and I was unsuccessbul. I'm not ashamed to say that. And I remember I did my interview in the library in Melbourne, the big old library, whatever it's called, Melbourne Library. I think it's got another name, but it's in the CBD there, and I did it within the stacks, within the shelves, and I remember I had my phone on the floor, and it must have been terrible because that was going back 10 years, and I wasn't fully prepared. Like I didn't watch any YouTube videos on how to pass an interview with EF or anything like that, and I was just flat out rejected. Basically, they told me that I wasn't the sort of person they were looking for. So yeah, that's a bit sad, but everything would have been so different if I had have got that job, and I wouldn't have gone to Korea, and I wouldn't have gone to China. I wouldn't have gone to northern China. That job was in Shanghai. But Yeah, EF. I've known a couple of EF teachers over the years. I've known a few, and there are a lot of EF teachers in China. There have been historically. It's one of the biggest chain schools, and EF adults I know has been declining, but that's unrelated to the current laws. That's just, I guess, a demographic change or a market change. That adults are less interested in learning English today, but certainly it will be surprising, to say the least, if EF can survive these laws, and it will be absolutely incredible if they can survive. And it's amazing, I've had a couple of conversations with people who seem to think that the laws won't impact them, or that the laws aren't going to be enforced or something. And I guess until it's a bit like a storm warning. Like when you're sitting there in no wind, it's very hard to believe that in 6 hours there will be strong winds and there will be a storm. But if you're an EF teacher, my advice to you is prepare for a future sans EF, without EF. And it's tough, but it seems to be the way that it's going. I also wanted to do like a little update about my university courses in this video. So I'm teaching 11 classes a week now, which is 18 hours a week. So yeah, it's tough. It's tough. That's 11 100-minute classes. So that's 11 times 100 minutes. That's 1,100 minutes per week, which is about 18 hours. And I'm also teaching for the university at a private company, at an electronics company. So that's pretty cool. That's interesting. The classes are very small. There's 2 classes. Each class is 90 minutes, and each class has about 4 or 5 students. So that's been quite interesting to meet those engineers and project managers and salespeople in those classes. But yeah, that's pretty much my teaching life at the moment. It's just that 18 hours plus that corporate work, and a little bit of online teaching into public schools. But yeah, the semester is definitely more than halfway over. So there's one more full month to go, I guess, from this point, which is November 6th. And I think that a lot of teachers all around the world are looking forward to the end of this semester. It's been a really tough semester. And that's all I have to say pretty much. So I hope wherever you are, you're having a good day. And if you do have some information about EF, please let me know in the comments below. I think that everyone really appreciates the information sharing. You're not alone. I've been through school collapses, I've been through redundancies, I've been through the vicissitudes of ESL, and I've been through it. So reach out to me. You're not talking to someone who's merely observing this. I've been through it, and there is always light at the end of the tunnel, and there's always a way. And we just have to keep positive. All right, so thank you very much. Bye.